Welcome back to the Slam Duncan YouTube channel. This is going to be the first video of my MyLeague Bulls series, and it's going to be a realistic MyLeague series of me rebuilding the Chicago Bulls. I am very excited to get started with this, as I'm going to be pretending to be the next GM, so like put me in Karnashovas' seat, and I'm going to be basically redoing this entire team realistically and hopefully get this team to be a championship level team and win a couple of championships in the next few seasons. This video is just going to be getting through the rest of the 2019-2020 season, getting through hopefully a good chunk of the off season, maybe not the entire off season, but a good chunk, and then hopefully next video we'll be getting into the next season and hopefully potentially be playing a game. But I am going to try to keep this series as realistic as possible. Of course, I am not perfect, and the simulation is not going to be perfect, so it's not going to be 100% realistic, but it's going to be as realistic as I can get it to be. And hopefully you guys are going to enjoy it. But before we get into this video, make sure you leave a like on this video. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 100 subscribers, so hopefully we can get there by the end of May. And also, follow me on Twitter at Duncan_White14. But I'm going to simulate very quickly through the rest of this season, and then I'm going to show you guys the awards, get through the playoffs, and then we'll get into it after that. Okay, so we're at the end of the season. The Bulls go 26-56. Pretty accurate. I can say that if the rest of the season would continue, it's probably an accurate number for the Bulls. But Giannis wins MVP, John Morant Rookie of the Year, Montrezl Harrell Sixth Man of the Year, Anthony Davis Defensive Player of the Year, Bam Most Improved, Mike Budenholzer as Coach of the Year, and we're gonna go on to the All NBA teams. And all right, so we're in the obviously the Bulls are not in the playoffs, but I'm gonna simulate the playoffs really quickly. You guys, I want to hear your recommendations for this Bulls team, because I personally do not know what the Bulls are going to be doing, especially this upcoming off season. But I mean, I don't know what's going to be happening, like what free agents Karnashovas is going to be going after, or what types of moves are going to happen, like what immediate trade is going to happen. Do the Bulls keep their main four core guys together? But leave in the comment section down below of like maybe ideas you guys want me to see me do. But obviously like realistic ideas, not anything that's all, you know, crazy and like something that we did in the last video. But as we see here, the Philadelphia 76ers win the championship. Joel Embiid is Finals MVP. So we're going to keep going here. And to be honest, that playoffs, like 2K is so whack with their playoffs, I think that was actually a pretty realistic playoffs. But player retirements, Jamal Crawford officially retired. And there's staff retirements. Going to reject anything for the league meetings. And we're not going to realign the league at all. But draft lottery, this is huge for us right here. The Bulls have the 5th best odds of getting the top overall pick. I had pretty good luck in the draft lottery, so let's see what happens here. We get the 4th overall pick, so we jump up one spot. My luck in the lottery is pretty good, so that's a good start at least. Staff signings, initially the first move that Karnashovas should make once he has this, the team up and going again, is fire this man. So we're going to do that immediately. Okay, so unfortunately 2K is disrespecting Adrian Griffin. Adrian Griffin's a really good assistant coach, but 2K has his offensive defense at both D+. So I will not be signing Adrian Griffin as our next head coach. However, I did see Sam Cassell. So I have talked about before how I think Sam Cassell could potentially be Bulls head coaching candidate. I think Sam Cassell's a really good assistant coach because he is under Doc Rivers currently. But I also just think because he was a former player, he has championship experience, I think he'd really connect well with the Bulls team, and I think he can be a person that's going to understand what this Bulls roster is all about, and whatever Karnashovas gives him, he's going to use properly. So I'm going to bring Sam Cassell in for a 3-year deal. In real life, I don't know how realistic it is if Sam Cassell would actually leave Doc Rivers' staff, but I'm going to throw a 3-year deal, give him a chance here. I know his numbers aren't amazing, like his offense and defense, they're both C+, but his potential is a B. And we're just going to throw this at him, and then hopefully we're going to get a really good assistant coach to pair alongside him, so that will, you know, even out like his low ratings on the offensive and defensive end. But we're gonna throw that at him, and then other assistant coach, I always like Otis Newman. I always like to bring him in. So we're going to do this, and let's just throw him. He doesn't have any offers, so let's just throw him that right there. All right. Looks like we got the main 4 guys that I wanted. So we're going to assign all these guys, and now these positions are filled for the future. Okay, so we're at the NBA draft, and my main idea right now for the Bulls is to draft Obi Toppin, and I might be willing to actually trade down and get maybe an extra asset, because I don't think Obi Toppin is going to be going top 4, so he might be going 6, it looks like, or potentially even a little bit farther back. But I'm going to try to see if I could trade down and get like maybe the 6th overall pick, maybe get an extra pick with that, or an extra prospect, whoever has the 6th overall pick, and see if I could draft Obi Toppin at number 6. All right, so we're in the draft right now. The Hornets got the first pick, and they're going to be picking Anthony Edwards, so that makes sense to me. Portland is number 2, and they pick Cole Anthony, so maybe they're planning to move on from Damian Lillard here. Interested to see what the Pistons do right now. I don't know who they're necessarily going after, so they're going to pick James Wiseman. So they moved on from Drummond, so now they got Wiseman. I like that. Fortunately, the Warriors aren't actually in the top 5, and I think James Wiseman would be perfect for them. But we're going to look at the trade offers here. I'm not expecting anything amazing. As you can see, it is not anything worth the 4th overall pick. But I'm going to see if I could trade down with whoever has the 6th overall pick, get an extra draft pick or something else alongside it, and then draft Obi Toppin at number 6. Okay, so the Knicks had the 6th overall pick, and unfortunately they were not willing to give up that pick, along with a future 1st round pick as well for the 4th overall pick. So decided not to do that trade. The Cavs had a 5th overall pick, and I tried to do a trade with them, like that included Thaddeus Young, and I kind of got close to a deal, but in my head, I don't see them trading for a guy like Thaddeus Young at all, because it just doesn't make sense. So I'm going to be drafting Obi Toppin with the 4th overall pick here. And I think this, it's not too high in my opinion, because I think Obi Toppin could potentially go top 5 in this draft easily. And we do have a 2nd overall pick here. I'm going to go with Cleo Whitney, and I know you're like, well, that's a small forward, but Cleo Whitney, hopefully I'm saying that right, he is like a Lamar Odom type player, and I think that is probably going to be necessary for this Bulls team, as both Kobe White and Zach LaVine, they're not the best passers, and they're more shot creators for themselves. They're good shot creators in general for the team, but they always need a guy that's a distributor on the court with them, aka Satoransky, but maybe Cleo Whitney can also be that type of player. So I'm going to draft Whitney here, and that is going to end our draft. We're going to sign both those guys, and we're going to look at the team player options, and of course Otto Porter accepts. He would be stupid to not accept that. And obviously people are talking about Anthony Davis coming back home, and I would love to get Anthony Davis to come back home, but I just don't think it's actually possible. I'm going to throw a qualifying offer to Chris Dunn, but I'm not going to throw any offers to the rest of these guys, including Denzel. But now we're in free agency, and we don't have any money right now, as you can see. But I am right now going to be trying to make some moves here that can hopefully open up some money, because I think a guy, for example, when I'm looking at the market, a guy like Serge Ibaka I think could be really, really impactful for this Bulls team, as Serge Ibaka, he's been coming off the bench for the Raptors for the past couple of seasons, and I think he can be a mentor to Wendell Carter Jr. and Lauri Markkanen, and he's willing to accept a lesser role, but he's wanting $15 million. So I need to open up that cap space, which is going to be trading, first up, getting rid of Felicio somehow, and also getting rid of Thaddeus Young and Luke Cornett opens up that much money, and then we could go after a guy like Serge Ibaka. Okay, so I'm going to be trading Thaddeus Young to the San Antonio Spurs for Trey Lyles and a 2nd round pick. I can see this type of trade actually happening for the Bulls, as I think Greg Popovich, if he stays, is going to try to continue being in the playoff hunt with his team. So I think a guy like Thaddeus Young is a veteran that can come in and give him a more veteran presence, and hopefully boost their bench. And for the Bulls, I think this could actually happen, because one, Karnisovas went and got Trey Lyles in Denver, and 2, I think Trey Lyles is also for this specific video. I think with Trey Lyles is that he can be a backup for the Bulls, and just in case we don't get Serge Ibaka, he can be insurance, making sure that we still have a backup big man for the Bulls. So we're gonna do this trade and try to continue to open up cap space by trading some other guys. Okay, so I'm gonna be trading Luke Kornet to the Cleveland Cavaliers for 2 second-round picks, and they offer me a first, but no one's gonna trade a first for Luke Kornet, and I need Luke Kornet off the roster immediately so I can just move on in my life. And I think this is good for the Cavs because currently they do not have any other center on the roster besides Zizic, and they're probably going to hopefully keep Drummond, but this gives them more depth at center, so this makes sense in my opinion. So Luke Kornet for 2 second-round picks, and we're going to continue to open up more cap space to go out and sign some guys in free agency. So we know how the Knicks are crazy, right? And while this probably isn't 100% realistic as no one wants Felicio, unfortunately, 2K is crazy and doesn't understand that, you know, when you waive a guy, you don't always have to use the stretch provision. And I would actually just waive Felicio in general just to get him off my roster. But unfortunately, 2K would stretch provision him, so then I would still be paying him like a couple $1 million in like 3 years from now. And I don't want to do that. But you know, in the real world, you could just, because Felicio's on a 1-year deal right now, you could just waive that guy and just pay off the rest of his contract this season, but 2K won't allow you to do that. So I'm gonna do this just because I know the Knicks make stupid moves, and I just need Felicio off the roster, and we get a second-round pick out of it, but I'll just trade it for basically nothing later on, just so that we don't actually get anything for Felicio. So with just those 3 moves, we have cleared up enough cap space to get Serge Ibaka, who's a guy that I really, really want on this team. And I'm going to be throwing him a 3-year deal just so that we get his bird rights. And I'm going to be fronting the deal, making sure that we get a team option as well. Throwing him this deal, so if we want to bring him back, we can bring him back after his 2nd year, and this ensures us that we have his bird rights so we can go over the salary cap to re-sign him. But if we need the cap space in that 3rd year, then we can just decline his option, and then we'll have an extra $12 million in cap space. So I'm going to up it just a little bit, and hopefully we get Serge Ibaka with this contract, because I think he'll be a humongous piece for this Bulls team moving forward. I am also looking to see if I can get like a good backup point guard, or potentially even a starter, and maybe bring Kobe White off the bench for maybe half of this next season. But I'm not willing to offer so much money to a guy like Van Fleet or Dragic, as I know Dragic is going to get worse this next season, and Van Fleet, he unfortunately also gets worse pretty quickly. His prime years are like, it's done by like 28, I think. So maybe a guy like Reggie Jackson can come in. I mean, I know he's 30, he's probably gonna get worse, but I'm gonna front the deal as well, and hopefully he can come in and mentor Kobe White. I love Reggie Jackson as just a player in general, and I think he can be a good vet for this team. And this then allows us to move on from Chris Dunn, and we have a solidified backup point guard, and we can use Satoransky to not only be a backup point guard, but also be a backup 2, and also have him play the 3 position if we need to. Okay, so we got both of these guys to agree to their deals. However, I need to make some more space to be able to sign Reggie Jackson. It looks like I need to get an extra $7 million. So let me go do that right now, see who I can move, and then hopefully we can sign Reggie Jackson along with Serge Ibaka for this team. The Pistons are willing to give me a 1st-round pick for Otto Porter, and I want to try to make a deal with them because currently the Pistons do not really have a small forward on their roster that's starter caliber. But I don't think getting a 1st-round pick from the Pistons is fair enough to them, as the Bulls didn't give up a 1st-round pick to get Otto Porter either, and they traded 2 expiring deals for him. But I'm trying to find a way to justify this trade, and the only way I see it is just that, well, they don't have a starting small forward, and they're probably going to be going to rebuilding mode, so they probably want to keep their young guys. So I guess for the Bulls, like, you bring back a guy like Tony Snell, and you know, his contract's like a little bit under half of what Porter makes, and then we'll get a couple of seconds alongside that. So that's about the same amount of value in my opinion, because the Bulls are not getting a first-round pick for Otto Porter, and that's unfortunately for us. Like, I think Otto Porter is actually going to stay with the Bulls, but if there's any way that the Bulls can get rid of Otto Porter's humongous contract, I'm all for it. So I'm going to do this deal. I think this is pretty realistic in my opinion. We're bringing Tony Snell back, but this opens up cap space for us so that we can sign Jackson and Serge Ibaka. So we're going to do that deal with the Pistons. Did I not get enough back? Maybe. But like I said, I don't think the Bulls are getting a first-round pick for Otto Porter. But this allows us to do this. I'm going to keep Shaq Harrison's rights. I'm going to move on from Chris Dunn. And we're going to sign Ibaka and Jackson in free agency. And that is huge for us, as I think both those guys are going to be very important moving forward. And that also, I'm not sure how much cap space we have left now, but we're going to move out of the moratorium period here and see which other guys we should keep. And we have this trade exception as well that can allow us to maybe go after another guy via trade, and we can absorb his contract with that trade exception from the Thaddeus Young deal. But I did look at the contract extensions, and it says Lauri Markkanen is not going to re-sign, which is not a good thing. But I'm going to take the risk and say, like, I'm going to play out this rest of this season, and I'm going to pray to God that he's going to re-sign with us, and potentially then trade him immediately after he re-signs if I don't like how he performs this season. But this is what I keep talking about with the Bulls and with Lauri Markkanen, is that Lauri Markkanen has basically already voiced that he's unhappy, and even with all the changes, let's say we also get a new coach, if he's still unhappy, he still has the leverage in the situation that he can sign a qualifying offer and become an unrestricted free agent after this upcoming season. And the Bulls need to make a decision very quickly. And I'm gonna take a bet here and just play out the rest of this season, and hopefully then he resigns and doesn't sign a qualifying offer. And then I'm probably, if he doesn't perform well, I'll trade him on that new offer. But hopefully he plays well. I know his potential got lowered, but hopefully he can be a piece for this team in the future. But we have a little bit of cap space left over now. And looking at this team, we got a lot of point guards on the roster. I do plan on still starting Kobe White. So we need... I'm going to move Satoransky actually right now to the two-guard position. His overall goes up, so that's good. And so there's a backup two-guard. I'm going to have Hutchison be the backup forward for us right now. So he'll be the backup small forward and power forward. And Trey Lyles might get some minutes, but then I also plan on having Serge Ibaka be as a backup center. Ibaka can run also the power forward position, so I think Gafford is going to be a humongous piece moving forward, and as Ibaka gets older, Gafford can slide into that backup center position, and then we can potentially trade Ibaka or move into the power forward position. And this also gives us insurance, just in case if Lowry does end up being off this roster, we can move Ibaka to the 4 or move Wendell to the 4, and then I think we'll be okay moving forward. But I'm going to wrap up the episode right here, and I think we did a pretty good job in the first 3 days of free agency. I'll finish up free agency, maybe make a couple of extra moves. They won't be too significant though, and then we'll get to player progression, get through the rest of the offseason, and then we'll get into the start of next season in the next episode. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Duncan_White14. And as always, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Leave in the comment section down below of what your ideas you have for this Bulls team moving forward.